Congratulations, you have found the Lambcast, the official podcast of the large association of movie blogs, also known as the Lamb. The Lamb is the largest collective of online movie blogs and podcasts with 2,000 members and counting. Every week on the Lambcast, various members of the Lamb community get together to talk about our favorite subject, movies. So bookmark the Lamb and follow us on social media. Be sure to join us each week to hear a lively discussion of films and movie-related talk from our members. Join the flock at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Bonjour, everyone, and welcome to the Lambcast. This is episode 817, and I'm your host, Richard Kirkham. Everyone likes a heist film. The planning, the casing of the location, the execution, the flaws and mistakes, and the interplay between all the principals. We had a selection of heist films available on the poll, and the Lamb community went old school, choosing a 1956 French language film that was one of the precursors of the French New Wave, Bob Le Flambeur, or The Gambler, or High Roller, however you want to say it. Bob, an older gangster, relatively quiet for 20 years, finally hits a streak of bad luck as a gambler and is in dire financial straits. He allows himself to be talked into a job robbing a casino, but runs into a series of characters who complicate the plot. Speaking of complications, Howard Casner is one of the characters that regularly complicates the plot here on the Lambcast, and he joins the show this week to show off his fluency in French. Welcome, Howard.
You won't think I'm that fluent if I list the actors.
Yeah, I was trying that a little bit earlier, and I thought, no, I'm hoping Howard will take over. And taking a big risk on the roulette wheel and putting all of his chips on Calico, Dave Anderson from the Free Kittens Movie Guide also plans to leave here with a bundle of cash, but he's to be sorely disappointed.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I think Howard may have suggested the film, so I'm going to let him lead the discussion today. Howard, take it away.
Well, I suppose you're wondering why I called you all here. We have a heist to get through. We have to come up with a plan and a structure. And the heist is called Bob Le Flambeur, or as you said, Bob the Gambler. And it is a 1956 French heist gangster film directed by the great Jean-Pierre Melville. It stars, and let's get some laughter going, Robert Duchesne, Isabelle Corey, Daniel Cochet, Guy Ducombo, Andre Garrett, Gerard Burr, Claude Serval, Colette Fleury, Renee Havard, and Simone Paris. As you mentioned, Bob is a gambler living in Montmartre, formerly a bank robber and a convict. He has reformed, at least to the point that he spends most of his time gambling and being a role model to many other people there. But when his luck runs out and he constantly loses against the chance, he adds a group of friends and cohorts to rob a casino that should net them 800 million French francs, or 24 million in 2025 American dollars. So I suppose, as usual, we'll just start out spoiler free, and then we'll eventually give into free reign. So why don't we start with everybody's history with the film and their reactions to it?
Well, I'm happy to jump in here. My history with the film is that I watched it for the very first time a week ago in anticipation of the show this week. And I think I rented it on Prime. It was a great experience. I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. It took me a while to kind of get used to the rhythm of the film because the pacing is a little odd in the first hour, and it's really more a character piece than it is a heist film for a long period of time. And the characters are all interesting, and they interact in unusual ways. And it's an interesting setting because you can tell it's kind of a neighborhood that's on the edge. It's a little bit different there. Everybody kind of knows each other, and they all kind of live a devil-may-care lifestyle, which doesn't seem to be all that appealing or legal most of the time. So for me, the interesting thing about the film was the kind of the environment that it's taking place in and all of the individual characters. And we'll talk about the individual characters as we go along, but I like the film quite a bit, and when we get to the heist stuff, I'll chime in with some other opinions.
Great. Well, I think, Dave, it's your turn.
For me, I kind of, in a roundabout way, got to this one. A couple of years ago, Eddie Muller was hosting his show on TCM, and he was showed Les Samurai with Alain Delon, and that was also directed by Melville, and I was really taken by that film, and so especially Delon's character, and that led me to seek out Les Cercles Rouges, and I fell in love with that film. That might be my favorite heist film of all time. And then I just started working my way backwards and forwards, checking out and buying sight unseen as many Melville films as I could, eventually getting to Bob Le Flambeur. And this one actually surprised me because I expected it to maybe play like a precursor or a dry run for what the Cercle Rouge would be, but it's completely different in tone and style. And like you said, Richard, at first I didn't know what to make of it, but once the ball gets rolling and it gets into gear, it's pretty entertaining. So I've watched it 2 or 3 times over the past year.
Well, 3 times a year, that's pretty good. You must really like it.
I've watched all of Melville's films 2 or 3 times during the past couple of years.
I haven't watched them in such a close amount of time, but I have seen quite a few of them, 3 or 4 times, including Les Cercles Rouge, Les Samurai, and some others. This is maybe the 4th time I've seen it over the years. I don't think it's 3rd. I think it's the 4th. As I was watching it, though, I was going, oh, I thought there was a lot more heist in this film than there is. And I was wondering how people would react to it being chosen as the heist film. I obviously love the film. It's one of the great French noirs, and it's one of the great French films of the 1950s. And Jean Melville is one of the great French film directors. And it does have a sort of different rhythm and approach because you don't get to even the suggestion of a heist for quite a while. It's all a character study of Bob and his ethical system and how he works and how he is respected even by the police and how he's reformed. That he hasn't been a criminal in a long time, though he has no problems rubbing shoulders with them. So I think it's just a wonderful film. Were there highlights of the film that you liked or remembered?
I think what I'd like the highlights from the first half of the film and then the highlights from the second half is where I want to go with this.
That's a good way of breaking it up.
For me, the highlight of the film is of the first half is how Bob is introduced. We already know he's a shady character, but he is beloved. I suppose kind of like some mafia dons, have been here in the United States. He appears to have something resembling a moral code, which we see when the Mark character, who's a pimp, comes asking for money because he's in legal trouble, and Bob tells him to, get the hell out of my apartment. You're a pimp, and I don't deal with people like you. And that kind of establishes Bob as someone that maybe we can somewhat relate to in a way, even though he lives in a different world than we do. He does seem to have a set of ethics that he goes by. For me, that'd be the highlight of the first half. And for the second half, and I'm going to try to say this without providing spoilers.
It may be impossible to, so maybe we should just warn people no guarantees from here on out.
Well, maybe I should wait then. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
No,
let
go
me
ahead.
pop in with my
Yeah,
material from the
go ahead,
first
Richard.
half. The thing that I thought was interesting in the first half, or that, how did you phrase it? Something that particularly caught my eye. Is that what you said, Howard?
Um, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll tell you what particularly caught my eye.
Go
The
ahead.
young woman named Nan. And I thought that was she's an odd character to begin with. She seems like she's way too immature and way too mature at the same time. She's young and impressionable, but she also seems like she's incredibly confident and fearless. And I kind of like the way that she just kind of falls in with Bob and lets him take over her life a little bit and direct her to another job, to put her up in his apartment, kind of set her up with his protege Paulo, and the way he tries to keep her away from Mark, which of course ends up not happening because she does fall in with him. And Mark is not a particularly attractive character at all. Of course, he's kind of disgusting, but he's a handsome man, and I understand why women were drawn to him. And maybe that's one of the keys to being a pimp. I never chose that lifestyle myself. I just probably wasn't attractive enough.
That's not what I hear, Dave. Richard.
I just think the whole way that she comes into the story, and she ends up selling flowers at one point. She's a dancer or a singer at another point. Uh, she's doing just kind of these odd jobs in the nightclubs and connecting with people. And she's a hostess at one of the clubs, which is, I mean, basically it's one step removed from being a prostitute. So it would be very easy for her to fall in with Mark and live the life of a prostitute, but she keeps just bouncing on the edge of that. And of course, when we get to the second part of the story, there are reasons why it doesn't happen that way.
She's also very manipulative.
Oh, yes.
Well, most of the women are uh, the one I guess if I had an issue with the film, it is the way the women are portrayed. That they're in many ways very traditional for film noir, but all they want is a better life. They want money. They want gifts. They want their boyfriends or husbands to buy them more, more, more. And the men want to get laid, and they're willing to do it to have a relationship with them. And when they can't provide the money for them, then the relationship tends to sour. But in many ways, except for the one who owns the bar, that's pretty much what the way both women are portrayed here. Uh, and she says, if you want me, give me the moon. She doesn't say I love you or I'll love you. That if you want me, give me the moon. And that's it. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the woman who owns the bar. Is it Yvonne?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah. At first, I thought she was just a peripheral character, but her importance grows as the film goes on, and she seems to be the only person besides the police commissioner looking out after Bob. Almost, she almost appears motherly at times towards him.
Yeah, and he bought the bar for her, or at least
Yeah,
gave her the money to open it. And
that's right.
he's a very generous man, at least when he has the money.
Hmm.
Well, I thought it was
Um,
interesting that, the reason that he ends up going back to planning a heist is because he finally hits a unlucky streak.
yeah,
He's been a gambler, it seems, fairly successfully for most of the last 20 years, and he never wanted for money. He seemed like he was always able to do things for his friends, Even the people who aren't his friends are putting the touch on him for some assistance. And he is obviously addicted to gambling, because
Hmm.
once the unlucky streak starts, he can't pull himself out of it. He can't stop. He has to keep going, thinking it's going to change. And like everybody who has an addiction to gambling, they think that, well, it's my luck's going to change any minute. I'm going to get back into this, and I have to keep following the path. And the path is right in front of you. It's right off the cliff, buddy. You should see it coming.
Well, it's interesting because the person who played him, uh, Duchesne, that's my guess at how you pronounce his name, was sort of chosen by Melville because he collaborated with the Nazis during World War II. The reason why he collaborated is that he was in debt for 800 million French francs. And they had it over him, and he did some really bad stuff so that when the war was over, he couldn't get a job in film. No one would work with him. Then Melville looked him up and has him play a gambler who is addicted and can't and owes and wants to get 800 million marks.
In I was just I just bought a bunch of stuff during the Criterion sale, and one of them was Melville's The Silence of the Sea. And there's a great documentary about Melville on there. And according to one of the people who knew Melville well, he approached Duchesne right out of prison. Approached him for this role right as he was getting out of prison to play Bob. So,
And it was his last film. He didn't make a film after this.
yeah.
I mean, collaborating with the Nazis, even though he did it because he had money, he owed money, and who knows what would have happened to him. Still, you don't collaborate with the Nazis and get away with it.
So he's kind of a French Audie Murphy then. Just be yourself, and you'll be fine.
Well, I think one thing we should talk about is the look of the film, the black and white cinematography, which was done by, what's his name? Should have it here somewhere.
Henry Decay.
That's it, Henry Decay, who is one of the most important French cinematographers of the period. So what did you all think of the look of the film?
It's impressive. I like I like that whole opening section in the morning. It looks very naturalistic, and when Anne's walking along the street there, and she gets the whatever it is she's having for breakfast, and
Fries, chips.
the lights are all, the neon lights are going off for the day, and you can kind of just see that we're transitioning to a different world, because the dawn is coming. I thought it looked really good. You get a feeling, as a result of the way the film is shot, that there is a change in the atmosphere that's taking place in this district that is different because of the time of day. And I like the way it looked.
Yeah, I did too, and I think it had an influence on other filmmakers, because the first thing I was reminded of was, well, this is how The Naked City opens, which came out later, of course. But both of those films open up in a strikingly similar way. Both black and white, both effectively showing the change of the city from night to day. But yeah, it's a good look. It's a good looking film.
Yeah, like he was a major. I mean, he was a really major. I want to say influence, but he was a major new wave cinematographer. He did Claude Chabrol. He did. Oh my God, my mind. Francois Truffaut. He did other Melvilles. So his importance to French film industry probably can't be under gosh, I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's okay.
You're doing fine.
Underrated. It can be, I guess, underrated.
Well, I think if you were watching this film, you would think that this is somebody who really gets what the director's trying to get across. I mentioned the morning shot, but there are evening shots when you're transitioning from the inside of the nightclubs to the outside on the street that I think work really well. You can see the colorful, lively life that's going on in the nightclubs, and then you see when they're out on the street with the nightclubs in the background with the lights going on, and then they're on the street. It's not a half life, but it's definitely distinctive, and I like the way it's lit. Uh, it's got a very film noir kind of vision especially in those scenes.
Um, well, after that, we probably should talk about Melville himself. He is also one of a very important a director from the 1950s. And Dave, I think you said that you were working through his films.
Mhm.
So you must like him very, very much, let's say.
I do. Right now he's one of my favorite directors that I've been watching, and that's you know these are all new movies to me, so it's like I've just made this awesome discovery, and I've really enjoyed.
If you've not seen it before, it's new.
That's right. That's right.
So I have a lot of his films in front of me that are going to be new. The only one that I've seen before is Le Samurai, and I have heard fantastic things about Army of Shadows, and I'm anxious to catch up with that.
That is his best film. I mean, it's a devastating film to watch.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I don't think it's his best film, but yeah, you're run through the ringer in that one for sure.
He did, when he came to America, things didn't work as well. His Two Men in Manhattan and his Magnet of Doom are probably the least, but he did make an incredible number of films that are just really high on the list of many people's greatest films, especially Le Samurai and Army of Shadows, Le Cercle Rouge, and Flick, and Bob Le Flambeur. Lamp to Read is kind of fun to watch. It's a very odd movie.
Which one?
Live Pont to Read. The Spoiled Children or the Terrible Children or
Okay, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we should talk about the heist itself. Because as I said, as you pointed out, it really doesn't take up as much time in the movie as you would think it does usually in a heist. And a heist film does. So how did you react to that? How did you feel about the heist and how it all worked out?
I was surprised at first, because again, not providing spoilers, this does not unfold like you're expecting it to, as far as heist films go. And no matter how many heist films you've seen, if you haven't seen this one, you do not know how it's going to turn out. And any movie that confounds my expectations, I appreciate the effort. And in a way, the ending is actually quite funny.
It's both sad and very funny, yes.
Yeah, at the same time, it also establishes that Bob may not be all that nice of a guy anyway.
Well, he seems, this is a spoiler, so everybody's spoiler. He's feels very guilty about Paolo's death, but at the same time, once the money comes out and gets in the car and he gets in with the inspector, he seems to have gotten over it.
Mm-hmm. Really quickly.
Yes. And he's got all that money. He didn't make it in the commission of a crime, so it is his
Mm-hmm.
for when he gets out.
In a way, he was saved by his own gambling addiction.
Yes.
I like you said, it doesn't go the way most heist films go, although it has elements of that because you do see the planning. They arrange to get the floor plan, they case the casino that they're going to be doing this at. You see them plan, the safe cracker practices, getting the correct safe to practice on. Um, it seemed to me like it was really set for a very typical follow through. And then we just get this slightly different event
Yeah.
that takes place. And it's an event that really reflects who Bob is.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's like the opposite of what put him in the situation in the first place is now taking him out of the situation.
well, as some people have said, it is a heist film where you hope the heist doesn't happen because of what's happening to Bob. And the heist doesn't happen. That is probably the biggest difference between this and regular heist films. The heist never happens.
They don't even get into the casino.
Right. You have Rafifi and you have the Asphalt Jungle, which are my two favorite
I
heist
love
films.
I love Rafifi.
And like Rafifi has that 30 to 45 minute completely silent dramatization of the heist itself.
Mm-hmm.
But here, no, they don't do the heist. They don't get in. They don't, you know.
Yeah, the only extent we see of the heist are, when Melville chooses to show scenes of how it's supposed to turn out for them during the planning stages.
Well, we were talking about segments that we were drawn to in the first half of the film. In the second half of the film, I just enjoyed the good luck streak that Bob had in the
Yes.
casino that draws him away from what the original plan was. It's like he loses all sense of time and purpose because he's got his mojo back and he's cleaning up at the roulette table at the chemin de fer. It's just like it's
He
like an
can't
attractive
lose,
nuisance. He can't stop himself.
and he can't lose.
And you can see it in his face, and he knows it. And really, I mean, that's a great performance, him at that table, without really saying anything. Uh, I've never seen.
And the chips accumulate like crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a great scene. The whole
Um,
sequence.
but there is for me, a sense of complete doom because there were so many chances for things to go right. And no matter what they did, they couldn't stop the tragedy at the end. Paulo kills Mark before Mark can tell the police anything, but it doesn't matter because the guy who works the casino and his wife tell the police. Uh, he wins all this money. Bob wins all this money, and he does go out at the right time, just as they're arriving. And he could have told them to stop. I won this incredible amount of money. We don't need to do this, but it's too late. The police have arrived. So no matter what anybody does, uh, it's just not going. It's not going to succeed. There's nothing anybody can do for it to succeed because everything is working against them.
Wasn't the plan originally that they were not going to they were going to have guns, but they weren't going to be loaded? I seem to remember a segment where Bob wanted to make sure that nobody was
I know there's that one where
because he thought they were trigger happy, and he was afraid that it would end up being a shootout.
yeah,
Well,
there's that.
but they did bring loaded guns
Obviously, they
because they
did,
had a shootout with the police.
but that's another one of those things that I was thinking about that
So
goes
I can't
wrong.
remember exactly either.
In addition to being tipped off by the croupier and the distraction of winning at the table, we also have the accomplices or the hired help kind of disregarding the parameters that Bob has set up.
Yeah, if they had shown up without loaded weapons, then they would have had a better. They would have probably just been arrested.
Right.
Well, they probably wouldn't have even been arrested because they didn't do anything yet.
Right. There wasn't anything to
They were
hold
just
them.
on the street. So,
Well, they could probably get for attempted. So yes, and like Bob
Conspiracy if
said,
they could prove it.
I only, I'll probably only get 3 years. They would have probably not gotten very long either. Uh, so you're right. Everything would have been great. They would have been arrested, maybe served a little time. Bob had all this money.
yeah,
And
but film noir can't end that way. We all know that.
well, it's also like in the US, in France, crime could not pay. So even though I don't think that that's why it ends badly because the French the censors insisted on it, but even in France, you crime cannot pay, and so it had to end this way. In the US, we don't get to crime can pay until we get to the Thomas Crown affair and the Hot Rock. So it's doomed. France is doomed after
And
World
it's
War
funny
II.
because I've watched quite a few French crime thrillers. That, like I said, that's my recent discovery. And uh, the French directors, they take doom to the extreme in so many of these movies that Bob Le Flambeur actually ends on a happier note than most of the ones that I've seen so far.
Right. It ends happier for him.
For
But
him,
of course, he
sure.
gets arrested. So at the same time, they didn't commit a crime. So it's kind of weird in it. So, yes.
Well, I don't know if it's in France the way it is here. If people die and you're part of the plot, you're going to be accountable for that. But that doesn't become part of the discussion at all at the end of the film.
Well, I think it's only if you kill someone who wasn't uh, involved in the crime. Like if they went into the casino and killed someone, then yeah, Bob would, even if he didn't participate in that, he would still be responsible for it. But the only people who got killed were the people planning the heist. So yeah, it's difficult to say how much that would affect. But as Bob says, if I get a good lawyer, I may be out in no time at all.
His partner thinks he's not even going to get convicted and he can sue.
Yeah.
Did you have something else that you were thinking about, Howard, that you wanted us to talk about?
Yeah, maybe so. I think I have, or in that. There was one other scene that I liked that I mentioned, and that's the first scene with the police inspector, where the police inspector discusses Bob, but then Bob gets in his car and they just have this nice little tete-a-tete. And it is interesting because the detective says, well, one of the reasons why I like him so much is because he saved my life. I don't know if he intended to, but he did. And so from that point on, he tended to look out for Bob and respect him.
Yeah, I like that relationship between those two guys. He's the only other character who really seems to care about Bob personally, besides Yvonne.
He cares so much he's trying to track him down to keep him from committing the crime because
Yeah,
he
Yes,
knows the plan's already gone to hell in a handbasket.
and he can't find him. Like I said,
Yeah.
there are so many ways that this could have been stopped, and none of it stopped. So uh, that's existential despair and doom. You know, you can't win, and you can't even quit the game. Well, are there anything other areas that you anybody wanted to bring up or talk about?
Just some advice for anyone listening: do not bother with the remake of this film.
Oh, I don't think it's that bad. I
Uh,
kind of enjoyed it.
oh, I did not like it at
Oh,
all. Uh, I thought it was drab, depressing. Um,
it has been a long time since I've seen it. So I can't, disagree with you really because it's just been that long. But for everybody who wants to know, it is the,
The Good Thief.
the Good Thief with Nick Nolte.
Heard about it. I have never seen it.
I saw when it came out, but
so did
so,
I. Before I saw this, actually.
uh, not yeah. I think I saw it after. I might have seen Bob Le Flambeur in college or sometime after that. So quite possibly in college. There is something about these French noirs. They're so doom laden. Uh, they're so existential. Uh, there's so much, they're a combination of what they went through with the war with the Gestapo and the Nazi occupation, with this sudden influx of American film noir like The Maltese Falcon and The Big Sleep and Murder My Sweet and things like that. And it just came together to create these incredible uh, studies of what France was like at the time. But they never stopped, they've never stopped making really fine crime films. So what happened was that people like Martin Scorsese and Paul Schrader were, these films were inspired or influenced by American film noir. Then the French films inspired people like Paul Schrader and Martin Scorsese. Then in the 1990s, the French started making new crime dramas that were influenced by Martin Scorsese and Paul Schrader. So it was this cycle of constantly influencing each other.
We got chicken and egg film making.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So should I give it back over to you,
All right. Well,
Richard?
yeah, I think we've had a pretty good discussion of this film, and
Oh,
it's a relatively short film. It's not long. And as we said, it's not action laden. It's a character piece for the first hour at least, and but they're interesting characters and worth following. And then we get to the crime plot, and that's interesting, but it certainly has an interesting twist at the end. I like that. So I appreciate that it won. I probably would never have seen this film if it hadn't been Movie of the Month. One of the reasons I like it when people suggest good movies of the month is that I'm going to be exposed to something that I would not normally have jumped on. Uh,
uh,
I have anything against it. It's just one of those things. You know,
People should watch Melville. Uh, Cercle Rouge is certainly a good one, and you've seen La Samurai. So
yeah.
Cercle
The
Rouge.
Samurai was one of the ones I had as a blind spot on a movie of the month draft for my birthday a few years ago. I think
Yeah. And I
I.
wasn't asked to be on the show, but am I bitter? No, I'm not bitter.
I'd also recommend Les Dolos
Yes.
from 1962, and his first feature-length film, Silence of the Sea. I'm still processing that when I watched it for the first time yesterday, and it's a completely different film from his crime thrillers. It's a
Well, he did do
beautiful.
a couple. Leon the Priest is also not a crime thriller, but most of them, yes. The Army of Shadows isn't a crime.
that are out there that he made that are probably worth a little bit of time. Like I said, I'm definitely going to follow through with Army of Shadows and Le Cercle Rouge.
Well, be prepared for Army of Shadows. I know how sometimes you have said, I don't know if I'm ready to go through this experience or not. It
Okay.
is a rough experience at times.
Well, it's not come and see rough, but it's
Yes,
it's
you're right. It's
emotionally
not
harrowing.
come and see rough, but what happens in it is it's not your typical what would you call it? The undercover, the people who fought back.
Well,
A
French
different
Resistance.
Resistance.
resistance. It's not your typical resistance film filled with heroes and great people.
Gotcha.
It's got the great Lino Ventura in that one.
And Simone Signoret.
All
Yep.
right, so we'll take that with a good warning, and we'll keep our eyes open for other films in this milieu that'll be interesting to see. We're going to take a quick break here to hear from a fellow Lamb Podcasting Network show, and then we'll be back with the exit question of the week.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, Todd.
You know, movies are getting really long these days.
I know, they're all over 2 hours.
Do you know what I think is the perfect length for a film?
Maybe 90 minutes?
I was thinking more like 7 minutes.
Right. And you know, they should cast more of the great classic actors of yesteryear.
Like Al Pacino or Meryl Streep.
I was thinking more Mickey Mouse or Popeye.
Or Daffy Duck.
Greatest movie star of all time.
I wish there was somewhere we could talk more about those bygone days when cartoons played in movie theaters.
Well, now there is, Todd.
There is?
Yes, Cartoon Breakdown, the podcast where we discuss the golden age of animation.
In each episode, we'll take a handful of classic animated shorts from Warner Brothers, Disney, MGM, and all those other studios and break them down.
We'll look at the characters, the directors, voice artists, animators, and of course, all the great gags that make these films so much fun to revisit.
Cartoon Breakdown is part of the Rabbit Hole Podcasting Network, which can be found at rabbithole.podcast.com or listen anywhere you get your podcasts.
Hey, shouldn't that be Rabbit Hole Podcasts?
No, I'm looking at it here. It definitely says rabbit.
But it's Wabbit season.
Duck season.
Wabbit season.
Duck season.
Wabbit season.
Duck season.
We're back, and it's time for the exit question of the week. And the exit question this week was suggested by Howard based on his experience with this film and its own remake. So, Howard, why don't you tell us what your question was?
Well, as was mentioned before, the Bob Le Flambeur was remade as Good Thief with Nick Nolte. So I was wondering what my fellow guests, if they had a heist film they would like to see remade, or could be remade, or might be a good film to be remade.
I've got one that I thought of immediately, and you've already mentioned it on the show, and that's the Hot Rock, which I think if you did it in the style of the Soderbergh's Ocean's films, could work really well with a cast of stars who come together and commit the serial crime. They're not serial criminals. They're committing a serial crime. They keep having to steal the same item over and over and over again because of things that crop up during the story. And the Hot Rock, which starred Robert Redford and George Segal, was a very entertaining film in, what was it, 1972? I think it was, maybe 1973, somewhere in there. And it's got that kind of light style for the most part that the Ocean's films have, but there's enough drama in it that I think it could be interesting and suspenseful too. It's not a comedy. It's not a straight comedy. Um, I'm not exactly sure how you would do the. I don't think you'd do the same exact plot line where it's an African nation trying to steal the property from another African nation, and they hire the criminals to carry out the plot. but you could find something that's similar to that. So there are cross purposes that are going on. And I think, like I said, with an updated cast, the Oceans guys are probably past the stage that they would be useful, but this would be one for, a new crop of actors, younger actors to kind of do the same sort of thing that I think Rob Liebman is in the film, and
Sarah Mustel.
Zero Mostel and Paul Sand,
Yeah,
and
it was, as
it
I
was an
said,
entertaining film.
it was, I saw it, I don't know if it when it came out, I think I did. And then I've seen it again recently because TCM had not TCM, Criterion had a tribute to George Segal, so I watched it again. It was the first film I ever saw where the criminals got away with it. It wasn't the first film because I said the Thomas Crown Affair came out a couple of years before. But now every once in a while, the crooks can get away with it.
They do, they do. And the other one that I thought of was Thunderbolt and Lightfoot,
Mhm.
Clint Eastwood, Jeff Bridges film from Michael Cimino, of all people, and it's the same sort of thing. You have somebody who goes back to commit the same crime again, using the same technique and trying to replicate the success, although the original crime was a failure because they didn't get away with the money. And it kind of ends up being, there's a revenge plot in it because his accomplices are after him. And this is another one where I think, if I was planning it now, if I was planning it 15 or 20 years ago, I would have said Mel Gibson would have been the obvious stand-in for Clint Eastwood
Right.
because he's got that right attitude of, you know, competence and authority uh, and certainty that, and kind of the way he could take charge of even a situation where he is outnumbered by the opposition, so to speak. I'm not sure we have somebody right now that I could cast in it that comes to mind, but I kind of like the idea of, like I said, coming back to the crime you committed before and trying to replicate it and and make it work this time. Even though and the failure that they had the first time was just getting away with the cash, and this is I just think it would be interesting. So those are the two that I thought of.
Great. Yeah, great choices. I enjoyed both of those films very, very much. Jeff Bridges was really great in Thunderbolt and Light, but he got the role because Bo Bridges said, "I'm too old for it. Why don't you cast Jeff Bridges?" And the rest is film history.
Yeah.
Dave, are you ready yet?
I think I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's the 1971 movie, The Anderson Tapes, would be an interesting remake
Mhm.
because it's not a sacred
Especially
cat.
today with AI.
Yeah, I mean, surveillance has changed so much, and technology has changed so much over the years that it would be an interesting take to bring this story of an apartment heist up to the present day with the technology that's out there now. And the original film was a fun film. I wouldn't call it a classic. So it's not one of those sacred cow movies. I think that would be my choice. That or Charlie Varick.
Again,
We're
though,
just rolling in 70s films here. That's what
yeah.
we're doing.
Well, I'm choosing one that actually was remade. So people claim the remake was a remake of another film when it wasn't. And I was really flabbergasted that nobody realized this. Uh, the remake is Woody Allen's Small Town Crooks. And everybody at the time said it was a remake of Big Deal on Madonna Street, which it barely resembles. It's actually a remake of Larceny Inc., from 1942. You know, in Woody Allen's Small Town Crooks, they buy this shop or they rent a shop or whatever to make cookies, but it's all a cover so that they can dig into the, I think the bank next door or whatever to steal the money.
That's the
And
plot of the Edward G. Robinson film completely.
yeah, that's, and I don't know why people didn't realize that because then the cookies become really successful when in Larceny Inc. Edward G. Robinson gets out of prison and gets the idea of renting this store or buying this store and selling luggage and bags and everything as a cover to get into the um, bank next door. But the store becomes a huge success. No matter what he does, the store becomes a huge success. So I would sort of like to see that done better than Small Town Crooks, which doesn't really quite work or come together.
Huh. Well, those are good choices. I like all of those, and it would be fun. Of course, I'm not funding it, so somebody else has to take responsibility for trying to sell this on. Well, let me give you guys a chance to promote stuff that you have available for the world to read, see, listen to. Howard, I know you're a stumble bum now. Have you stumbled onto something recently that you want to share with us?
Yes, I got it up today. Stumblebum episode 1, where Jason Soto of Rabbit Hole podcast and I clash over in our opinions over the film American Murderer with Tom Pelphrey, which I liked very much, and he hated it. So, but it made a very good discussion, and I got it up today. You can get it at Rabbit Hole Podcast, at Spotify, and YouTube.
I think our Lambcast promo that everybody heard a few minutes ago is also going live today, and that's the Todd Liebenow, Andy Golding cartoon breakdown. So Rabbit Hole Podcast has got a couple of new ones today, and that's a good way to break in July. By the way, folks, you were hearing the June Movie of the Month show here in July because we just had a little bit of trouble recording in time, but it's all good. And just to prove how good it is, Dave's got a bunch of stuff for you to watch and listen to.
Oh yeah, yeah, mostly to read. Um, I've got upcoming reviews of two of the biggest films of the year so far: 4K reviews of Obsession and Project Hail Mary.
Well, good deal. You're well prepared for the rest of the year. You know, we've got those have been big films this year, and I would imagine that we'll be hearing quite a bit about them later on. I have not seen Obsession yet. I've heard good things about it, but it's just been one of those things that I didn't know anything about it until it was already a huge success.
You know, my
So
daughter, who's a big horror fan, has already gone to the theater to see it twice, and she keeps telling me, "We gotta go, we gotta go."
I think it was the true definition of a sleeper. Nobody had heard of it, nobody was aware of it, and then it opens and becomes a big hit.
I like it. I like it when that happens. Well, on my site, I'm still trying to catch up with several films. I think I'm going to cheat and put up my Lambcast illustrated podcasts for two of them because I haven't written a Disclosure Day review or one for Toy Story 5, both of which were solid films. Not, I don't, I think Toy Story 5, once again, surprises everybody with their ability to come through and make a film despite the fact that the four preceding films have been incredibly successful, that matches up to them pretty well. And I think maybe people will be very happy that there is a Toy Story 5 when originally I think most people were worried that there was going to be a Toy Story 5. And Disclosure Day, I was talking with Dave a little bit before the show. Um, it's been a little controversial. And Howard, I got to remember, he wasn't entertained by it. He just enjoyed it. but it's not a good film from his point of view. I thought it was a pretty good film. It had some good sequences in it, but like I said, I'm not gonna write a whole separate review. We had a nice discussion on it on the Lambcast, and then I've got a couple of other films that I have to catch up with. And the Shepherd's Pie project is coming along. I should have another episode for you guys next week on my favorite James Bond film of all time. So that'll be fun.
Cool.
I want to thank. Go ahead.
No, I just said cool.
Yeah. I've been enjoying doing it. I got to be a little bit more lively when I'm presenting it because I think I've been a little dry.
That's me. I've just been very lethargic lately, so I apologize for that.
Well, all of us could use a little caffeine when we get going on these shows. I want to thank Dave and Howard for joining me later than the usual schedule, but we got this in time. And all of you have a great Independence Day. Those of you who celebrate, those of you on the other side of the world, I'm sorry that you are not celebrating with us, and that you don't get the day off. But we'll catch you all next time on the Lambcast. Thanks, everybody.
You've been listening to the Lambcast. If you have an idea for a show or would like to join us on the Lambcast, contact us at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Find us on Facebook, just search for Lambcast, or on X, formerly Twitter, at Lambcast. And you can find us on YouTube as well. The Lamb site can be found at largeassmovieblogs.com. We'd also love it if you would leave a review on iTunes.